It's almost the end of the year. Can you believe that?
It's crazy. The other day, my wife sent me a picture. She was shopping. I think she was at Walmart, and they already have Christmas stuff already.
I know.
It's September. I mean, come on.
Do you want to hear something even crazier?
What's that?
My mom put up her Christmas tree. I
No,
swear. I swear. When she told me that, I was so mad. I'm like, why would you do that? She's like,
come
I was
on.
thinking about it and like I thought it would make me happy. And I'm like, you sound like crazy right now. Like I kind of feel like I should put you in the home, but
September's not over, and the Christmas tree is up.
it's
Come on.
crazy.
It's 80 degrees outside,
I'm like, I
and we don't live in Phoenix.
it was yeah. So anyhow,
Anyhow,
since we're getting close to the end of the year, I think it's a really good time for people to start planning for their goals, whether that is their personal goals or their financial goals. So I'm kind of curious what your take is on goal setting and how it could set someone up for success.
I'm in total agreement with you. I think people should start setting their goals and think about them. Um, so, what does that really mean? Is defining your goal and setting your goals? I think a goal is taking an idea and write it down and developing some sort of a process or a bunch of steps that you know you need to take to turn this idea into reality, to make it happen. For example, let's say Joe Lisa, you were born in the United States, right? So let's say you want to become the United States president. Okay, let's say that's your goal. So you write it down. That's how you start. You write it down first, and then you start to say, okay, what do I need to do to become the president of the United States? So let's say hypothetically you say, okay, first I need to obtain a law degree. It seems like a lot of the politicians out there tend to have a law degree. So maybe that's where you would be, you would be starting. Maybe you start running for a political office in your local town, in your little city. Maybe you run for mayor or for a member of council. But effectively, what you're doing is you're taking an idea and turning it into something that is more tangible to work with and creating a plan to make it happen.
Yeah, I think that's important because a lot of people think a goal is just a goal, something that you strive for, but there's a lot more variables that you need to consider when planning for those goals. And I feel that that's maybe why a lot of people don't accomplish their goals is because they don't have a strategic, tactical plan and steps to get to that final goal. So I'm well aware that having a goal and a plan for that goal is really important for achieving success. But what about in financial planning? How important or how crucial do you think it is for them to sit down and think that out?
So let's start with the goal first, and then we'll move it into the financial goals. So setting goals is important, but also to make it something beyond just an idea is to make sure to write it down. As a matter of fact, research showed that writing down your goals, just the act of writing it down, will increase the probability of those goals becoming a reality by 42%. That's a lot, right? Just simply making it or putting it in writing. This is very significant. So and the idea behind it is that you're taking this simple thought and you're transitioning it into a written goal with a plan of how to make it happen. I think finances are very important for everybody. Making financial goals are important. Some people have goals about retirement, others have goals about their children, and so on and so forth. So, making sure that you identify all those goals and writing them down, and then potentially either by yourself or through help, developing a plan to achieve each one of them is what's going to help you make that a reality. Research said 42% higher probability.
Having research to back up your ideas and your thoughts definitely helps out a lot. But I think that, yeah, good for a start and figuring out your goal is to write it down because if you don't do that part, I don't know how much further you're going to get. So, in terms of financial planning, I've seen firsthand how important it is to have a goal when it comes to, planning for your future. How important would you say when it comes to your savings and your retirement planning?
So, you use the right adjective. It is crucial. Let's use an example here. Imagine somebody who has a goal of retiring at 67, right? And they're in their 40s now. Do you think that they would rather start working on it now and developing the plan and following the steps and all of that and ensuring that they are moving towards their goal? Or would they rather wait until they're 67 and then find out that they can't retire because they didn't really have a plan towards that goal? So it is very crucial for, if they're serious about their goal, to ensure that they are identifying it early and establishing the plan. Another example I would give you, imagine if somebody wants to send their child to college. Should they be thinking about that the day their child is born? Or should they be thinking about it when their child is starting to apply for college? Do they want to find out that day that they didn't save enough for them to send their kid? I mean, so it is very crucial um, to really plan for this and have the goal set aside and have a plan if you're serious about that goal.
Once someone writes down the goals, we know that that's simply just the first step. In your perspective, what would you say in order for you to really achieve that goal? What should people be doing next?
So writing it down is definitely the first step, and it's a first step of many different steps. What comes next is identifying the plan of how you're going to achieve that goal. So let's use an example again here. Let's say that you want to send your kid to college at 18. Your child is 4 years old today. So once you've set that goal that you want to contribute financially towards that college tuition or the college cost, you need to have several things identified. First, maybe you want to do some research to identify what type of school you want to send them to, and then find out today what is the cost today to send the kid to school, to that school, and then potentially what is the rate of inflation for that school has been over the last several years, and try to estimate what that cost will be at the time your kid turns 18. And then once we have that number, now we want to work backward and say, all right, do we want to fund 100% of the college cost? Do we want to fund 50% of the college cost? So identify where you're going to stand on this, which will give you a number that we were going to work towards. And then that would help us identify how much money we need to set aside on regular basis starting today to achieve that goal. Okay, so it's a multi-step process, and there's quite a bit of methodology that goes about making it happen. Now, not everybody is able to do that on their own, and not everybody has the resources to do all that research to make it a valid research or good information. That's why people like us exist, right? We are willing to help, and we have the capability of helping people make sense of all of that.
So, in your experience, Sammer, what would you say the best steps are for trying to figure out what your financial goals are?
As you well know, Jolisa, whenever we start a relationship with a new client, we tend to ask a lot of questions. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is directly or indirectly understand what are those goals that the client is trying to accomplish, right? So goals could be retiring at a certain age. It could be that they want to buy a second piece of property, or maybe they want to start a business, or they want to send their child to college. So we would identify those goals and segment them. And then also we would help them develop a plan for each of these individual goals to make it happen within their means, within their ability to set money aside and pay for their bills and all of that. This is a process that usually takes months before we're able to put together all of those goals and the plans for each goals, because we take each one of them very seriously and we spend the ample time trying to work with each of these goals and establish its own separate plan.
I always feel that practical examples resonate best with people. Can you go through a step-by-step process example that could help people better understand the goal process?
Yeah, and you're right. And we're talking about a almost a generic topic here, and it's kind of dry. So let's take a practical example. So, Lisa, take this Uber ride with me. Let's say you're traveling to this new city that you've never been to before, and you're going there on vacation, and you're flying there, and you flight arrived into the airport. You get out of the plane, you go claim your luggage, and then you go down to where the ground transportation's, right? All seems familiar. You whip out your phone, you turn on your Uber app, and you put in the address of the hotel where you're staying, right? The Uber app will create a map, or not create a map, but it will draw a line on the map to show you the distance to the hotel, and it will start searching for all those drivers that are nearby, and it will give you a list of them with the size of their car. So once you've selected the size of the car you want, then the driver will come to you. You put your luggage in the car, and now the driver is taking you from the airport to the hotel, following the path that Uber has highlighted for them, where to turn right, where to turn left, which road to take. and then ultimately you've arrived to your hotel with your luggage. How many of us do that? All of us, right? We do it on a regular basis almost every time we travel. That's really what we're describing when we're talking about setting goals and then setting steps to make that happen. In my silly example, the goal was getting to the hotel, right? So you needed somebody, in this case, Uber, to help you identify the best route possible to get from where you are today at the airport to where you're going at the hotel. I know it's a silly example, but I think you all have gotten this visual of how what we're trying to describe when we're talking about setting the goal and setting the plan that gets us there.
Yeah, I think that, the goal setting process may be complex for some people, but if they look at that example that you just provided, it lays it out pretty simply for most people to understand. And hopefully, then they could grasp that and plan their own goals. So I know you have worked with so many different clients, but I'm curious, what are some of the most popular financial goals that people are trying to achieve?
So after 30 plus years of working in this business, I can tell you that some of the most common goals that I've come across are goals such as retirement, where somebody has a goal to retire at a certain age with a while having the ability to maintain a certain lifestyle. Another goal that's common would be to pay for 100% or another percentage of a child's college cost. Another common goal would be to be able to have financial protection for your family in case one of the parents perish too early and lose their income. Another common goal would be to have the ability to have tax efficiency in your day to day financial transactions. So you're taking advantage of tax opportunities and not able to, or avoid making mistakes, tax mistakes. Another goal would be to be efficient when it comes to estate taxes, meaning having your beneficiaries after your passing experience the least amount of estate taxes that they would have to pay to the government. Another common goal would be that someone is having the ability to leave a specific legacy for their beneficiaries. Like, let's say they want to leave a $500,000 behind for their children or something like that. So those are typically the most common goals. Obviously, there's off goals that come in once in a while where people, based on their situation, will have those. But these are the most common that you were asking about.
So we've identified some of the key steps when it comes to goal planning, setting those goals, writing them down, doing your research. What are some key takeaways that you would like our viewers to leave this video with?
So, we talked about all those steps that Jolisa just listed, but it's important to know that this is not a set it and forget it type of arrangement. Because what I learned is that as people age, as they're living their life, sometimes their goals change, their priorities change, or things happen in their life. So it is important that you find some sort of a methodology or some sort of a time span where you go back and revisit those goals and revisit the process that you've initiated or the steps that you've identified to achieve those goals. Maybe once a year, utilize the professionals around you, people like me and people like you, to assist them in the research and in the data and help them visualize and put the stuff together. This is very important stuff. Um, somebody's goal could be to run a marathon, right? I'm certainly not going to be able to help you with that. But if you have a goal that is a financial goal that would be crucial to you, and you keep thinking about it over and over, and it's a concern, it is very important that you bring in a professional that's going to help you. So call us with your goals so we can provide help in research and data and help you be able to put together the methodology to achieve those goals.
Well, he said, bye bye.